6 years old, and I said, this makes no sense. I was super pissed off when they cut my hair. And I left school by the time I was 16. And my parents spent a fortune on private education and tried to get me into some Ivy League school. And unfortunately for them, LSD and marijuana got in between their plan and the other were Universe's plan. And you know, I had an older friend who, when I was 16, I think, said, let's go. And we had spent our summers in a very natural environment in upper New York State in the Adirondack Mountains. And 60 years ago, the Adirondack Mountains were a pretty remote area. Not so much today, but then they were. And he said, oh, let's go out. So midnight, we go out to a lake that nobody lives on. We camp, set up a little camp and drop acid. And I can still see that morning and that sunrise and that lake and that mist and the light on the leaves in my mind today. All I do is close my eyes. From that moment on, I knew that the reality that is being projected by the collective was not the only reality. My conclusion at this point, and it's an ever-changing conclusion, okay? It's never stagnant, always moving based on input. Input of both my meditative experience and input of other people's thesis about what this reality is. And I mean, today we have all kinds of theses out there. We have flat earth thesis, we have simulation theory thesis, we have the matrix thesis, we have the Vedic thesis, we have the Christian thesis, we have the Muslim thesis, we got the politicians' thesis, we got communist thesis, we got the socialist thesis, we got Marxist thesis, we got democracy, we got republic, you name it. So, you know, there's a constant flow of this reality coming into us. I like this one at this moment. So my journey to here. You know, there's lots of details in between, but they don't matter because they bring you to where you are now. And where you are now is all that matters. How you got there, I mean, it's different. It's different, but it's the same for every one of us in the room. So yeah, I can sit here and speak of my unique journey to here, but big deal, so what? I'm here, you're here, we're here together, we're going to do something together, we're going to have some experience together. Even you go to the Vedic and Kundalini as taught by Yogi Bhajan, we have the trilogy at work. This trilogy is in everything. You know, Neptune is holding the trident. Shiva is holding the trident. We have the Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost is the trident. So the power of three is always at work. And if we take that to the elemental level, what is it? It's positive, negative, and neutral. It is the force operating at the submolecular level of the, you know, quantum field, where it's the dance of these three powers. The neutral field is neutral. It's nothing. It's like, okay, the artist has a white piece of canvas in front of them. That's the neutral field. It's a blank reality. It is operating within this reality, but it's blank. The collective consciousness of humanity is painting one picture on there. And it's a fairly negative picture. It's the picture of the constant conflict, the constant war, the constant abuse of, you know, sex over one sex over another. It's the constant abuse of trafficking and all the rest of the garbage that's happening on this planet. There's another picture here that only the individual can paint. And that's people of consciousness. People of consciousness paint their own picture, which is different than the collective picture. And the more you get practiced at painting your own picture, you can move through the entire negative reality being painted by the collective. And negative means what? It just means that the collective aggregates itself on the negative side of the spectrum. It doesn't mean good or bad, only as Yogi Bhajan used to say, good and bad, only thinking makes it so. What someone in the collective decides is good or bad today, 10 years from now could be totally different. 10 minutes from now could be totally different. So the collective paints this low frequency, low vibration, fear-based picture. That's what it's painting. I personally don't believe it's ever going to change. My wife does, but that's okay. She's very positive. I'm not very negative. I just observe the reality, and I observe the historical record. If it changes, hey, I'll be the first one to say I'm wrong. Is humanity getting more positive? Yes. There's more and more groups of like this. But hey, come on, guys. There's 45 of us out here. There's 1,000 of them sitting on the wall out there drinking booze. Not that that's good or bad. It's just what they're doing. And they're very subject to the collective consciousness. They live in it. COVID was absolute proof of what the collective consciousness can do. Tell you all to do the most fucking absurd thing on this planet and you'll do it. That's what they did in COVID. They told humanity to do the most stupid, absurd things that all science already knew was BS. And most of humanity did it. It's absurd. And it's a low frequency, fear-based. So, over here is a technology how to get out of that. All yogas, all the Vedas, all the Zen, all the, the old monks of the Christianity, the old fakirs of the Muslim religion, all these people knew how to get out of that reality. Meditate. Get up in the morning, do your practice, and then you can handle the day. And you can move through the day, you can move through the collective reality without being part of it. So that's where we all are. That's where I am. And it's so beautiful once you get out of the collective reality. It doesn't, I'm super well-read, geopolitics, the rest of it, business. I still super well read a lot, but it doesn't bother me anymore. I just got a little elevated because I can't, the stupidity is beyond belief. But it's because they're not really stupid. They're just trapped in the collective reality. And through some spiritual practice, folks, is the only way out. Otherwise, you'll be trapped in it. The next time they bring around their manufactured, concocted problem, if you're stuck in the collective, you're going to go down the road. You're going to take their jab, you're going to take this, you're going to take that. I understand, if you were in the city, it was much more difficult to deal with than those of us who were lucky enough not to be in the city. Gurmukh and I were in New Mexico, which is a tiny, tiny rural little town. It was like nothing happened except we couldn't go anywhere for a while. There was nobody saying you couldn't come in here if you hadn't had this thing stuck in you and that kind of stuff. We didn't have to deal with that. And in the city, it was much more difficult. But here's the thing. Once you stop living in the collective reality and you live in your consciousness, you won't be here next time it happens. The energy will have placed you somewhere else. The energy took Gurmukh and I out of India literally one day before they shut India down. And we got back to the States one day before they stopped all the airplanes coming in and out. And then we got in our car and drove back to New Mexico and spent 3/4 of a year hiking in the woods and, you know, doing our thing. And that's, you'll always, once you live in your intuitive mind, this is what you need. You need this working. Once this works, you'll never be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Never. It doesn't happen. And you might be thinking in your mind right now, well, how does he know that? Because I've been practicing this for 50 years and it absolutely works at this point. I even have to be careful what I envision because I end up with it. You know, I start thinking about a new motorcycle or something like that, and oh God, within a few months I have it, you know. So you have to be careful what you wish for. Control the desires. Because once this starts really operating, you really realize you create your reality. Down to the physical level of an iPad or a phone or a computer or anything else. Or how much money you do have or don't have. It's just energy. And everybody here has the capacity to direct the energy and create the picture. You all have it. You just have to practice. Guru Dev used to say, and Guru Dev was, some of you may have known him, he was, you know, the best student of Yogi Bhajans, the best. Nobody touched Guru Dev in our organization. Nobody got the consciousness Guru Dev got. And he simply said, there's no difference between me and you except I practiced more. That's it. And that's the only difference between any one of us in this room, how much we practice. Because the practices work. Chanting works, all asana works, all pranayama works. Kundalini is not any, you know, somebody gave it that name, God knows when, but it's just a description of yogic practices that are designed to sequentially unwind the Kundalini at the 4th vertebrae, bring it to the base of your spine, raise it up through the central column, hit the crown chakra, expand your aura, then take it back down through the Ida and the Pingala to where it came from. And as it goes back down, it balances your chakras. So there's nothing more than balance your gunas, balance your chakras, balance your 10 subtle bodies. Everything works. You are the painter in charge of what goes on the canvas that we call 3D reality. And without that, you're stuck in the collective consciousness, which is just, it's improving slowly, but it's not where I want to be. Anything else? Come on, one more question. Somebody. Yeah.